This podcast is being recorded and produced on Gadigal land.
We pay our respects to the traditional custodians of this country and elders past, present.
We extend our respect to any First Nations, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people joining us today.
Always was, always will be Aboriginal land. Ready?
Hang on, let me just listen to this voice message.
Oh, that is so exciting. I love that.
Okay, that's all.
Wow, thank you so much for taking up my precious time with that absolute waste of energy. Okay, are we ready to go? We're on. It's happening.
I'm Brittney Saunders.
And I'm all right. Hey, and this is High Scrollers, the podcast version of your favourite group chat.
If it's trending, going viral, or has you gripped, we're talking about it. Coming up on this episode...
That's probably one of the truest things I've seen on the internet this year. So, Slay, it's getting 5 camps from me, darling. Morning, it's 6 p.m. Shut up, Barbara. What isn't she telling us as well?
So much.
There might be even more that she couldn't put in the memoir.
There would be so much.
That we don't know about.
That Every Time song and
Yes.
music video where she's running through the hospital.
Yes.
If now, with that in your mind, if you go and watch that music video,
Yes.
it actually makes sense.
Yes. Deal me in, doll. Let's go.
Ho, ho, ho.
Ho, 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 you reckon?
Yeah, Christmas is almost here.
Oh my God.
But it's Halloween.
doll. It's our Halloween episode.
I was going to say something Halloween-y at the start, but what do you even say?
I don't know. Let's put our resting witch faces on and get on with the show.
My mum the other day was trying to say to me, what's the thing where someone has a face? And I'm like, what do you mean? You know, when your mum is trying to explain something and giving no context,
Yeah.
she's like, what is it when someone, you've said it before, it's when they've got that face. And I'm like, I have no idea what you're saying, Shaz. Like, what face? You know, the face. It was resting bitch face. That was
yeah.
the word she was trying to find.
Right. I've noticed in some of our social videos for High Scrollers, my resting bitch face really pops up. Also, I seem to have a concentration face.
Right.
When you're talking, sometimes if you watch the social videos and you focus on me, as I do, I actually notice my concentration face looking at you, trying to figure out where you're going with whatever you're waffling on about.
I feel like I've got a bit of a resting bitch face too.
Yeah.
Which is bad, especially I feel like for people like us that are online and if we're out in the public, people recognise us. Well, if we're at Coles or doing our shopping or whatever, like I always think, shit, what if someone has seen me and I've got like a resting bitch face, like which we all do when we're just doing our thing, but then people are going to think I'm rude.
Okay, this is so weird that you've just brought this up. And I have to say, for like our scrollers listening, we often don't talk about what we're going to talk about. We don't tell each other our royal flushes. But this is almost spooky because the last few weeks and
Spooky.
episodes.
Get it?
Spooky.
Halloween.
Spooky. Yeah, it's Halloween. But I literally was thinking on the drive here about this situation, about how we're perceived as rude if someone has a bad experience meeting us and stuff like that. And I remember, I think it's like got to do with, you know, being around my birthday. It's still my birthday month, so I'm still going to talk about it. But being around that time, I'm always sentimental. And I was thinking back to my time on social media because I uploaded my first YouTube video when I was 19 years old. And I'm 29 now. So like
It's been a decade.
we're up to 10 years of doing this wild journey. And there's been a lot of, you know, people in the past who have been like, I met you and you were so rude. And up until, I don't know why this has flicked in me, but something's flicked in me. Up until this point, I've always been like, you know, I always try to be nice to everybody. If you thought I was rude, like, so sorry. Like, I really hate that you had that experience, blah, 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 blah. I don't think I've ever been rude. I don't know what's going on in my brain, but I've snapped and I've gone, I actually don't care if you think I'm rude. So I'm rude. Good. Get the fuck over it and move on. I'm rude. That's where I'm at in my life. I'm like 29 is giving 0 fucks.
Yeah, I'm with you. Not that we're out here like intentionally being rude to anyone ever.
No.
But I definitely think the older that you get, the more you care less and less about how other people perceive you. Whereas when we're in our early 20s, like we're so worried about what everyone thinks. And I'm sure like back in the day, I would have been out clubbing at King Street Hotel and maybe someone met me and then said to someone who said to someone, oh, she's rude in real life or whatever. And I would have gotten really upset by that. But I can say hands down now, like I'm sure people have met me. I always try to be lovely to everyone, like no matter what. But I'm sure some people have met me before and gone, and like not had the best experience ever. And to that, I think like that's fine because none of us are ever like 100% on.
Yeah.
We're never our best selves. I'm sure I've been working in our shop before and I've had a massive day and I'm like sorting through something and like someone came in and I said, hello, but it like wasn't the hello that they expected. And I think that's okay. No one's bloody perfect.
I've been rude to one person on purpose.
What happened?
She was drunk AF in the club.
If they're like being a pest.
Spilling her drinks on me. Big fan. Love me.
Yep.
Love that. Thank you. Spilling the drinks on me. Her friend's vomiting in a bush behind me. It's splashing down my leg. I'm over it. I'm like, you need a water and to get out of my face right now. And I still think about that girl because I never heard from her after that instance. Like,
right.
It's not like she ever, like, I got a DM or anything saying, like, I met you on the weekend. Like, first of all, I'd expect her to apologize, but, like, never got a DM saying, like, you were rude or anything like that. But I know I was rude to her because she was an absolute mess. Apart from her, I don't think I've been rude to anyone. But if you think you've had a rude experience with me, at this point in my life, I go, I am too old to give a shit. Deal with it. Sounds like a you problem. Next. If you got a problem with it, I don't want to hear about it. That's my that is my motto. In fact, my 2023 motto has been so.
Yeah. You made a video about that, didn't you?
Yeah.
Or a story?
At the start of the year. And again, so, like if someone's like, oh my God, I've got this problem. So, just move on. Just get on with your day. Fix it. I'm a problem solver.
Yeah.
And that's that. Also, I've got a fun tidbit for you. Is that what you call it? Tidbit? Tidbit.
Tidbit. Yeah.
Tidbit.
It's T-I-T.
Tidbit.
B-I-T.
Tidbit.
Bit.
Tidbit. You can't say on this podcast.
I can.
Oh my God. You're Bill over here.
Brit.
Brit the No. Whoa. So, I've got this little titillated tidbit that I do this
Titillated tidbit.
I do this thing and I don't know if you've noticed, but like every time I walk into a room, or almost every time I walk into a room, I go, morning.
Yeah,
I
feel
say
like
morning.
that sounds familiar to me.
I always say morning. And I can tell if someone is a vibe just by doing this one thing. Morning. If someone responds to me going, morning, or hello, vibe. I'm vibing with you.
What is the not vibe?
The not vibe is, it's 2:00 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Morning. Well, did you just wake up, did you? Morning. It's 6 p.m. Shut up, Barbara, and live it up a little. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, deal with it. Move on. But honestly, try it.
So what I do at work is because we wrap up our podcast here and then I get back to Newcastle just before work finishes. So we work 8 till 4. So I usually get to Newcastle just depending on the day at like 3. I always go to work anyway at 3 and I always say, sorry, I'm late. Just like every week, that's my running joke. And everyone usually just goes, oh, nice of you to show up. And they're the vibe.
Fun. That's fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so for all our scrollers listening, next time you walk into a room, and it needs to be around 2 or 3 o'clock. I mean, I say it every single time because no matter what time of day it is, I'm saying it at 11 o'clock when I walk in the club. Seriously, to the bouncer. Morning. Next time you walk into a room at like 2 or 3 or 4 p.m., just try and say morning, however you'd like to. And if people just respond like a hi, what a vibe. And you'll know very quickly, because I feel like, especially in like a work situation, I feel like you already know who is a vibe and who isn't a vibe. But this will confirm it for you. You do this and it'll split the room. And you'll go, I always knew you were a fucking vibe to your work bestie. And you'll say to your HR manager, she'll go, excuse me, it's 2:30. It's not morning. That's how you know.
Let's get into it with our Royal Flush of the Week. For those of you that listen, you already know what this segment is. If you don't, our Royal Flush is something that we share with you all every week that was the best thing we saw on the internet. What's yours?
I'm going to go first this week because I've got something so exciting. Remember last week we were talking about dispensing condiments from your fingers? And I was talking about Kewpie mayo and how much I love it. So I have a TikTok that was going viral earlier this week, and have a listen to what this girl says, because last week in the episode, I was also trying to kind of explain that, like, I will put mayonnaise with things that probably shouldn't have mayonnaise on them, but I just want the Kewpie mayonnaise. Have a listen to what this girl says because it has summed up my entire life and I feel like it's very relatable. Whether you like mayonnaise or not, I'm sure this can apply to something in your life.
Sometimes I make sandwiches not because I want a sandwich, but just because I want an excuse to eat mayonnaise.
If that ain't me.
Why don't you just eat it by the spoonful?
No, yuck, that's too much, darling. Don't be stupid. But I will honestly be like, I'm making a sandwich and it's having mayonnaise on it.
Do you eat a mayonnaise sandwich?
No.
Like
but it's
other
the
things
first
too.
thing that I think about. I go, sandwich, mayonnaise.
That's interesting.
What else can I put on it?
See, I'm always put it on at the end. And I'm thinking,
yeah. It doesn't go on first. No, you're not understanding.
I get what you're saying. You want the flavour of the mayo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it doesn't go on first. It always goes on last. Because you've got to gauge how much mayonnaise you need for how much you've put on the sandwich. Hello, it's simple science. But my whole thing is like, when I make a sandwich, I know that I'm making that sandwich to eat the mayonnaise. Nothing else on there matters. I don't care what else is on there. Whether it's
That's
the
how much
tuna,
you
the
love
chicken, a salad sandwich, just lettuce and chicken and cheese, chicken and barbecue sauce. Throw a bit of barbecue sauce on there. Whatever it may be, chicken schnitzel. Sandwich. It's having mayo on it. And I just thought that was genius. And this is what I love about the internet is like people who say things that I feel like we're all thinking, but then they say it and you go, oh my God, that is so true.
I feel like you see things like that and then you think there is no such thing as a like original, unique experience.
Yeah. But you know what I will say? It's like half of my videos that have performed well on the internet, a few that come to mind. One is the Red Rooster saga of how I said, like, is Red Rooster a front whatever, and then did the whole investigation, which of course they jumped on board with. I knew that that was a social conversation, but then made the video acting like I didn't know it was a social conversation.
Yep.
And also there was another one as well that I did. I spoke about this sound that happens in my apartment that sounds like the apartment above me is like dropping a coin and it rolling along
I
the
remember
ground.
this. Was it at your aircon or something?
No, I never found out. Oh yeah,
Was it your aircon?
I think it may have been something to do with the aircon or bubbles going through the gas pipes for the aircon or something. But I knew again, because I've lived in like 3 apartments now, that every apartment this same noise happens. So like in my head, I'm going, right, this must be a common thing. So I made this video going, I don't know if this happens to anyone else, but this sound happens in my apartment. Well, Jalen, millions of people from across the world were like, oh my gosh, I thought I was the only one. And I'm like, I am so smart, honestly. So I'm also thinking like, did this girl know that we all just want mayonnaise on our sandwiches?
Absolutely, yeah.
And she's made this.
Isn't that making content in general?
Yeah, so true. That's probably one of the truest things I've seen on the internet this year. So, slay. It's getting 5 camps from me, darling. What's your royal flush of the week?
I'm switching it up this week and doing an anti-royal flush. I've decided. So something that I've seen that has pissed me off.
Okay.
Or we can call it a
fold.
A fold.
A fold.
If we're
'cause,
sticking with the theme.
We're sticking with the theme. Obviously, royal flush is the best hand you can get in poker. And if you've got nothing left to do, you have to fold. I'm out.
I'm folding on something I saw.
You're folding. I don't really like it, but we'll go with it for today.
We can say anti-flush. I like anti-flush.
Anti-flush, yeah. Or just flush, like
flush,
down the toilet.
Yes, it's not royal.
Yeah.
So there's obviously a lot of trends on the internet and food trends and food hacks. Like we've all seen them. We've done them. Like remember the pasta with the feta in the middle that everyone baked in the oven at one point?
Never did it, but I remember.
And the sun-dried tomatoes. Anyway, I've seen one that
Don't bring up sun-dried tomatoes. I'm still triggered.
I've seen one that I think is just ridiculous and I don't know why anyone would do this. So this lady, she has like a cob loaf of bread, just like the loaf of bread.
Yeah.
I know. How good's a fucking cob loaf?
How good is cob loaf?
I know.
Sorry, and it's all about actually not the cob loaf itself, like the mixture. It's actually about how good you toast the frickin' pieces of bread that you've pulled out.
Yum, I want a cob loaf now.
Oh, God, we've got to go and have one after this, seriously. In fact, let's stuff out babes. We're doing a cob loaf cafe. We're opening
I'm pretty sure there's one in Newcastle.
The road. We'll stuff them. Well, I thought of it first. So I'm planning we put it here Across from the Nova offices.
So we can just duck down there
Yep.
whenever. And even just a mini cob. And then you could get a
Yeah.
few different flavours. Anyway, back to what I was
God,
saying.
Sorry.
My
Now
mouth
I'm
is
thinking
actually
about-
watering.
I know, me too. I'm sweating over here thinking about cob loaf.
So this lady, she's cut out the centre of bread and she's going to put butter in the middle to then dip the bread into it. But what she does is she gets the butter, melts it down completely to like full liquid, right? Then pours it into a cup and puts a candle wick into the centre of it. And I think she puts it in like the freezer or something to set it so that then the butter has set with a wick coming out the top. She then cuts it out of the cup. First of all, this is too much fucking effort by this point already for some butter. And then she cuts the cup off, whacks it in the middle of the cob loaf, and then lights it so that the butter will slowly melt and she can dip the bread into it. Like, why not just freaking get a block of butter and half melt it in the microwave and dip the bread into it? What's the need for the wick?
Was this a Halloween thing?
No, this is just...
She's just being rogue.
Yeah. And she said it's
Okay.
great for parties.
No, it's stupid.
I agree.
But
So that's
maybe
why it's
she's
my
made
flush.
It, maybe she's made it on purpose. Like with our other little friend here with the mayonnaise sandwich.
To get people pissed off.
I reckon.
Is it like one of those...
I reckon
What's that?
5-minute craft.
Yes. Oh, the way the 5-minute crafts enrages me.
Oh my God.
when I
I've
see
never
those
been
videos.
so angry in my life.
Anyway, that's my flush of the week. Don't try that. If you want to eat bread and butter, just spread it on there like a normal person or melt it in the microwave for a little bit. You're yawning. That's how boring this fucking butter is.
I mean, you said it, babes.
All right, so it's the season of Halloween. The pumpkins are out. The ghosts are ghosting.
Yeah. Boo. How do you feel about Halloween? Because you said you don't like scary movies and stuff.
Yes.
So do you not like Halloween?
Well, yeah, as you know, and everyone knows if you listen to a few episodes back, I have never watched a scary movie pretty much. So when it comes to Halloween, like when it's Halloween time, do people watch scary movies? Is that like a thing?
I think Netflix thinks we do.
Yeah.
Because my recommended is just everything terrifying.
See, I
and
love
I'm
at
like-
Christmas time when all the cheesy Christmas movies come out on Netflix.
Oh, I can't really do Christmas movies either.
Oh.
But yeah, okay. Well, some people are, and some. That's why we've got this podcast, because we reflect different aspects of society. Some of us like terrible Christmas movies, and some don't. But Halloween, yeah, it. Oh,
I don't know how I feel about Halloween. Like, I feel like over the last couple of years, we've seen it become more and more popular in Australia. Whereas I
yeah.
feel like it really used to be just like an American thing.
Yeah, I saw that like Australians are going to spend $500 million on Halloween this year, apparently, and that's grown from 400 and something.
On what? On costumes and decorations?
Yeah, the whole shebang. They've even sent out a warning that apparently the spider webs you put on, the cotton spider webs things, they've sent out a warning that that's not good for the environment, which obviously, but also not good for the birds, because the birds try and make their nests out of it.
Right.
And then it stuffs everything up because apparently the insulation from it stuffs up the nests because it's too hot because they've used that. I don't know. Read a book. I don't know. But that's what I read somewhere or saw somewhere on Facebook. But I was never allowed to celebrate Halloween as a child. My dad was very like, it's an American holiday, we're not doing it here.
Yeah.
And also, I kind of don't mind. Like, I don't feel like I missed out on anything as a child. Like, trick-or-treating, I never even could be bothered.
We did it once when we were kids and we only went to like our neighbours' houses that we knew
Yeah.
and took everything.
Hello, I lived on a hill. I was like, fuck walking. Like, I'm not
Your driveway was really steep.
I know, I'm not walking all the way
Fuck
down the
that.
street to get some chockies. I'll just go by them. But anyway, I wasn't allowed to celebrate, and I don't mind because Halloween is weird. Halloween has a meaning and the reason why we celebrate. Like, it's,
Isn't it like a dark and deep meaning? Halloween, like when you actually look it up?
Well, let's look it up because I've actually got no idea. But what I'm saying is, I guess it's the same as Christmas, actually.
Does Christmas have a deep meaning?
Babes, you did not just say that. You did not just say that. You did not just say that. Does Christmas have a deep meaning? Please think about what you just said, babe. Does Christmas have a
like
deep meaning?
Jesus' birthday.
Oh my God, only the
But I
biggest
thought you
birthday
were
in the
saying
year,
it has
love.
like some other meaning that we don't know about.
No, but what I'm saying is like at Christmas time, that is so funny that that's just come out of your mouth. I know you weren't concentrating, but hallelujah. What's funny about Christmas is like I don't personally, I know there are people that do, but I don't personally think about Jesus' birthday and Christmas.
Neither.
And like presents and family and food. Oh
It's
my.
pretty weird that it's this massive celebration that we all celebrate, even though it doesn't actually relate to all of us.
But Halloween, I know there's going to be a small portion of the world who actually celebrate Halloween for what it is, because it's believed on that day that the souls of the dead returned to their homes. So people dressed in costumes and lit bonfires to ward off spirits. So Halloween is like every year we're going to get together and light bonfires and ward off the spirits and do our little cleansings and whatnot.
See, when you said that Christmas has another meaning, I thought this is what you're talking about. I thought Christmas has some other meaning.
No, babe. Just the most famous man in the world's birthday.
Yeah, I thought you were saying it meant something else.
I don't think like anyone's actually celebrating. Like it's just about chocolate
it's just about
and dressing
the chocolate
up.
and dressing up, which
So
I
I'm
think
like,
is fun. I think the dressing up is fun.
But I'm like, what's the point? So much effort.
It
and
is.
for what? Just to dress up? Well, we could do that any day of the year.
Yeah, we really could.
I've really got an attitude today, don't
You
I?
do. You hate everything today.
It's Scorpio season. That's
Is it?
actually why.
Are you a Scorpio?
No. I'm a Libra, and I'll tell you the story very quick. I have told it many times on the internet, so I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but it's a good story. So Libra season is from around, I think, the 22nd of September to the 23rd of October. But most horoscopes and things will say the 22nd of October, because as the years have gone on, the Scorpio, the way that the time has worked, the Scorpio has moved back and now covers most of the 23rd of October. So if you're born on the 23rd of October this year, you probably were born as a Scorpio. However, the year that I was born, Scorpio doesn't just start at midnight. It starts at around 6 a.m. the year that I was born. And my mum went to hospital at like, I can't remember what time.
You can't remember personally.
I know, I've got such a bad memory. But she went to hospital with me, was in labour for a few hours. And she was like, what is the time? Because she knew that at around 5:50 a.m., it was going to change to Scorpio season. And so she looked at the time and she was like, this baby's got to come out of me now.
She pushed you
she
straight
was
out.
Pushing and out I came just in time to still be in Libra season. I think I was born at like 4:45, so about an hour before. So when I do my birth chart, it says I'm a Libra and it's right on the cusp. And that's where the cusp comes from, because there's an actual cusp line between Scorpio and that. So every time I post about my birthday, people go, oh, Scorpio. I go, you better retract that statement immediately, because I'm nothing of the sort, which is something a Scorpio would say. But it's funny because when I read horoscopes in like, when I'm at the hairdressers and I'm reading the Woman's Weekly, they've got the horoscope section. The Scorpio section has never in my life related to me or anything I have done.
Do you feel like those are all just randomly generated and they're just...
Nah, because the Libra ones are spot on every time.
But then how can you and every other Libra in the world be experiencing the same
that's
thing?
That's how it works, babe.
But then me and my sister are the same.
I don't know. Don't go take it up with the stars. They're the ones that worked it all out. Like, go.
Because me and my sister are both Taurus.
Yeah.
But like how me and her are different, and like how are we both experiencing the same shit? How is you and every other Libra in the world?
Sorry, I'm just processing. I just found out that your sister is a Taurus, which explains so much, because do you remember when you used to live together?
Yeah.
You two would headbutt.
Yeah.
Like no tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like you went at each other.
Our whole childhood.
Taurus is generally, like that's why it's a bull. It's like we are strong and we will fight. We will,
So it makes sense.
So it makes sense that you're both can't imagine, like a Taurus taking on anyone, scary. A Taurus taking on another Taurus,
yeah.
Harrowing.
No wonder
honestly.
Shaz hated us.
Yeah, poor Shaz. What's Shaz?
Aries.
Oh, okay, which is nice.
She's just before us.
Nice. And I think like the best is probably, my favourite is probably Aquarius and Cancer. Just a shout out to all the Aquarians and the Cancerans in the...
Do you know what AJ is?
Of our scrollers, no?
Guess.
What? Maybe Sagittarius?
No.
Oh, Virgo.
No.
Oh.
The worst one.
Oh, Scorpio.
No.
Gemini.
Yeah.
Do you reckon Gemini is worse? I don't reckon.
They're apparently the worst of them all.
No, I don't reckon Gemini's the worst. I reckon Scorpio's the worst. Sorry.
I don't think I even know a Scorpio. When do you have to be born to be a Scorpio?
Scorpio's 23rd of October, not including me, obviously. We've been through that. Till about 22nd of November or something.
I don't think I know
21st
anyone
of
who has a
November.
birthday around then. It's probably a good thing.
Oh, I know a few.
Oh, do you?
It makes me wish voodoo dolls were real, you know? Makes me wish Halloween was real because I could do a bonfire. I could do a real big bonfire and ward off all the Scorpios in my life. And hey, if you're listening and you are a Scorpio, please don't feel bad because I'm sure I love you and I'm sure you're different to every other Scorpio I've ever met in my entire life who I absolutely despise and can't stand.
Yes.
But actually, you know what? One of my really good friends, Jess, who listens to the podcast, is a Scorpio and she's one of the coolest people I've ever met. Love you, Jess, and giving you a shout out because she's a Scorpio and she's a good time. Apart from that, the rest of you can get stuffed. And if you are a Scorpio, no, I'm sure you're lovely, but I just
So you're trying to justify your hatred towards Scorpios.
No, I'm not just...
Matt hates Scorpios. It doesn't matter who you are. You all suck and you're all shit.
You know what? So... All right, a little bit of a trigger warning at the start of this segment because we will be talking of themes of abortion. We'll be talking of themes of drugs. We'll be talking of themes of, well, just strong themes. Let's just cover that because we're talking about memoirs. It's the month of memoirs. It's the year of memoirs. I think Prince Harry released his memoir earlier this year. Remember that trending audio that was like, my penis was oscillating?
Oh, yes. What the
that?
hell was that?
Because he did an audiobook of his own memoir.
And was it his first sexual experience or something?
Yes.
What the heck?
That's all weird. But
Yeah.
anyway, this is the thing. I've learned something new from memoirs, and we'll get to that soon because I'll tell you what. We've had Brittney Spears' memoir. It's called The Woman in Me. And one of the biggest stories to come out of this was that Brittney shared her experience of actually having an abortion when she was younger, when she was dating Justin Timberlake. I'm not sure how young they were, but I think they were pretty young when they were in their relationship. And she said, I would have kept the baby. And it was, she said
now it's that everyone's saying that Every Time song and music video where she's running through the hospital.
Yes.
If now with that in your mind, if you go and watch that music video,
yes,
it actually makes sense.
Yes.
Like there's so many references to that happening.
And also I know that was many years ago, but I'm like, JT, not happy Jan. But I was looking him up when I was like researching this story just to see what he was doing. And like, I've just got to put it out there. He's hot. Justin Timberlake's hot.
He's hot and talented.
Yeah,
he can sing
sure.
and dance.
Well, he's hot. But anyway, I am like so off that. Like that's really put a bad taste in my mouth because I'm like, not about that whatsoever.
No. And as you know, Brittney Spears is my Roman Empire.
Yes. So how did you feel about this?
Well, I know she's been promoting it for a long time, and with how odd her social media is, there's been like posts that she's done saying like, I'm nearly finished my book, but then like it was already finished. None of it makes sense. And so whilst I think this is great and I definitely want to check it out, it makes me think like, is this even really all her? Like obviously it's her stories and stuff, but like, is this what she wants to do? Because the way that she's just not active on her socials and everything seems like it was recorded forever ago, and with all the speculation online, like, is this really her releasing this exactly how she wants to?
Yeah, I think we're all a bit scarred from learning about like how controlled her social media and her life was in general.
Yeah.
That like it's still hard for us to be like, did she even write this? Was it a ghostwriter?
Because she hasn't
Is it someone else's decision?
She doesn't do like any interviews or anything like since the conservatorship ended and everything. Like she hasn't gone out and like spoken, like she doesn't have to obviously, but like I don't know, this coming out, but we haven't actually seen her speak about anything since all that happened.
Yeah,
it just makes me wonder, like there's so much almost like conspiracy about her life. Like so many people on the internet think that she's like doesn't even exist anymore and that everything we're seeing is just like fabricated. So it just makes me think. And
I love a conspiracy theory, but the Brittney Spears conspiracy theories is one that I haven't delved into because there's just so much to cover it's like Vanderpump Rules. You know, I feel like I'm behind the 8 ball, so I've got to have the time
Someone
to really
messaged
delve
me
into
and
it.
said, I really need to watch Vanderpump.
Oh, yeah, for
Like
sure.
they listen to the pod.
Oh, I had a lot of scrollers DM and be like, thank you for talking about that. It was so exciting to hear your thoughts. And
Yep, I've been told.
yeah, it was great. But yeah, there's been a lot of issues with her book release because The Sun reported that lawyers were trying to stop the release and this story of the abortion and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Daily Mail said that this was never actually the case and that came from a source that wasn't reputable or something.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows what's going on, because who can you even believe anyway? I don't know if I'm going with the Daily Mail, but we'll just leave it at that. But it's the month of memoirs, another one that has come out. Jada Pinkett-Smith. It's called Worthy. It's also out now. The biggest story to come from that one was probably her and Will Smith have actually been living separately since 2016, still married, had issues in their marriage, but were living separately. How many years is that? 7 years. They've lived in separate houses, but still married. And honestly, I'm confused at how that's working, but whatever works in any relationship, really. She also tells a story in her memoir, which really shocked me, and it got me thinking, and this is kind of why I wanted to talk about this, because with Brittney's abortion story and also Jada Smith's story about her being like a drug dealer in Baltimore in the 1980s. She was selling crack, and she tells this story of like chasing people down alleyways with a knife, like going to stab them because they stole drugs from her and money from her, and, you know, having guns put to her head. Like, it's really full on stuff. And these things coming out right now have really shocked me and made me think a lot about the fact that, like, we actually don't know anything about celebrities unless they tell us. And I just kind of wanted to lead into maybe like a chat around celebrity culture and the fact that, you know, let's talk about the Kardashians, as we often do. And the fact that, like, when I think about the Kardashians, I think I know a lot about them. But do you? But someone drops a memoir and I go, we learn all this new stuff. And do we really even know the people that we are following online? Do we really even know celebrities at all? And then it's got me thinking, what's Kylie Minogue done that I don't know? You know
Not Kylie Minogue.
So it's gotten me thinking about all these people that I think about. Even Lady Gaga, she's been very open about her journey and about her struggles throughout life. But I'm like, if Lady Gaga wrote a memoir, what would I learn? And there must be so much. And then on top of that, if they're putting those sorts of themes in the memoir, like Jada putting in selling drugs and stuff, what isn't she telling us as well?
So much.
There might be even more that she couldn't put in the memoir.
There would be so much
that we don't know about. It got me thinking as well about how we act online. When I first started on social media, I shared like a lot. And then for a few years, I shared everything, every aspect of my life. And probably since the pandemic, the last couple of years, I've really pulled back and been like, I just kind of want to like entertain people and not so much let them get caught up in my personal life. And also it being my full-time job, it's a weird balance of like, you know, we all have that like co-worker, or we've had that co-worker who just like shares too much information about themselves and no one cares. And I was also like thinking a little bit like that as well. And also just a work environment. Like, if it was any work environment, you'd be professional in a work environment. And a lot of people say to me, like, you know, my boyfriend Skylar, who I've been with for over 4 years now, isn't often on my social media. One, he's really shy, and like he's just not really like a social media person. But you know, I won't go with him to events most of the time. Like people will be like, "Where's Skylar?" Like at the events, and I'll be like, "This is work." At the end of the day, I'm not going to his meetings when he goes into work and sitting there going, "Hello, I'm just joining the meeting." Do you know what I mean? So it's like, it's a weird balance that I've had to kind of find. But I feel like for you, your journey of sharing too much online has definitely evolved, especially in the last 12 to 24 months.
For sure. I've definitely stopped sharing as much. Also because, like, I guess for me, like, I'm very busy doing what I do now. So most of the time, like, my week flies by and I've just obviously been working. And what's been interesting for me going from being an influencer as a full-time job to now working, and I don't know if people know this, but like, for example, we had a new general manager come and start with us like over a year ago now. And so she was coming in to basically run the business with AJ and I. And when she started, she said to me, I'm surprised that you're here all the time. She thought that maybe I made it look like online that I am there and then maybe I'm not, like, you know, I'm just off doing my own thing. But she was like, I didn't know that you would actually be here every single day working. And I think one of the most interesting things is I'm still managing to keep up this influencer thing like on my personal profile. But my life is very, I'm going to say normal, even though what I'm doing for work is not normal, but like I live a very normal 9 to 5 life. I work 9 to 5 every day plus more. And that's been interesting for me, going from, being a creator and sharing my life online. And now I have this very normal life where I work Monday to Friday, 8 till 4, go home every day. And then I'm still trying to be entertaining for everyone and share things, but I'm working a full-time job plus more. So that's been really interesting for me. And I guess as I've gotten older as well, there's definitely things that I have intentionally made more private. My audience know who AJ is, and even though like they don't really know him when you think about it, but they would all say like, oh, I love AJ, but I'm like, what do you love about him? Because do you actually know anything about him other than the fact that he loves KFC? But so, you know, I haven't shared anything about our relationship. Like I never talk about our relationship or go, oh, this happened today or we're having a rough area or whatever. Like I would now never talk about that kind of stuff. And there's other things in my life as well that I keep off the camera. As you know, at the moment, I'm renovating my house. And me 5 or 6 years ago when I was in my YouTubing and full-time content creation.
Your whole personality.
My whole personality.
Had a whole series.
Yep. There would have been, well, obviously a YouTube thing. Not that I do that anymore. But I'd be making a reel every week of an update, this, that, and the other. But even with my house, I've been putting little bits and bobs of updates on my story. So the only people that have seen it are the people that watch my story. And I'm intentionally doing that because, again, like I don't want to show the whole layout of my house on my social media and have it be permanently online. So I'm like, I'm just going to do little updates and show people bits and bobs of what I'm doing just on my story. Disappears after 24 hours. And that's something like I've thoughtfully done. I'm like, I'm not going to make this a massive series of reels and TikToks and everything because that is a piece of my life that I just want to keep more to me in my life.
And one of the most interesting things I ever heard is like, and it really put into perspective for me because I used to be one of those people who would always say, I share like 95% of my life with you.
Yeah.
On Instagram stories, you can only post a maximum of 100 stories per day. And you know, it used to be that stories could only be 10 seconds long. So if you posted 100 stories, which no one ever really posts 100 stories, but if you posted 100 stories, that would only equate to around 16 minutes of your day. 16 minutes of your day.
I know.
And these days, like I try not to even post more than 20 stories and I can't even do the maths on that, but that's probably only a couple minutes of my day. And here I am saying like, I share 95% of what's going on with, because that's how it felt.
Yes.
But when you break it down, it's like, realistically, I'm actually not. Even if you do a vlog, you've got 24 hours in a day, but your vlog might come to 55 seconds. And so you've shared everything you've done that day, but have you really? You know what I mean?
No,
I
it's
just find
nothing.
That so interesting.
It is interesting. And it's crazy like that we can follow people online or people can follow us online and they feel like they know absolutely everything.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to make it look like you're showing everything when in reality you're showing snippets that you have selected out.
And I think as well, like for me, I haven't had anything really big happen that has made me go, oh, I need to pull back. But I feel like potentially you have in your life.
Which we've spoken about on the pod before.
No, we haven't.
Yes.
That was our demo episode.
Oh.
Yeah, we actually haven't spoken about it on the pod before.
Well, look, we won't go into massive detail.
Yeah.
But in a nutshell, and by the way, when Matt and I recorded our first demo for this podcast, before we'd even gotten like the green light, that was a good episode.
I know.
And it was just a test episode and it was so funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, in my early 20s, I did share a relationship that I had online pretty publicly, and we were like vlogging together. We made a vlog channel together. We were doing all that because that's what I thought I wanted to do back then. I thought
Which was a genius idea as well. I remember thinking this is so genius because both of you actually had a vlog camera and you'd cut between both.
Yeah.
But you'd be vlogging side by side.
Yeah.
It was genius.
It really was.
It had never been done.
And look, it was good fun. I have no regrets about that at all. No hard feelings.
Mm-hmm.
But then we broke up. And then I shared that online as well and shared me bawling my eyes out. Look, if you want to Google it, if you want to Google it, Google Brittney Lee Saunders crying breakup and you'll see the photos. Yeah. But that was like the first time I'd ever cried on social media, and I'm not a crier either.
Yeah.
Are you a crier?
No. And you know what's so weird? So I haven't cried in like so many years.
Yeah.
Apart from maybe at like some movies that have got me.
Yep.
But I haven't cried because I've been sad in years. And I used to be someone who cried myself to sleep like every single night and hated my life and all the rest of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so to be at a place where like I'm just like never crying is so weird because it used to be such a big part of my personality.
I'm exactly the same. I'm the kind of person now, I'm not emotional. It's probably a bad thing sometimes. It can come across as a bit cold, but that's just who I am. Maybe it's because I'm a Taurus.
Probably.
I can blame it on that. I think it's also like getting to a place in your life where you are at peace with everything and happy and comfortable with your environment but thinking back to my earlier 20s, I would be in bad relationships and there'd be fights and I'd cry every week over something. Whereas now I don't cry for years unless like something really sad happens, or if I go to a wedding, I always get tears in my eyes when I see
yes.
you know.
So that sort of stuff. Like, so like obviously when people have passed away, I've cried. Obviously at weddings, obviously in movies that are sad or happy or whatever. Yes, I'm crying. But like from being sad, like no, I'm not
Me
really
neither.
a crier anymore, which is crazy.
We're just at peace.
Would you ever write a memoir? Do you think your life's been interesting enough to write a memoir?
Like a book?
Well, I feel like a memoir is different to what I thought it was. I thought a memoir was almost like an autobiography, but a bit more fun. Judging by what memoirs we've seen about penises oscillating and Brittney Spears and Jada's situations, I'm kind of at the point where I'm like, is it where you're meant to really expose yourself? Because I didn't realize that to begin with. And so I've always been like, I'd love to write a memoir, but I don't think anything that really
Me neither.
interesting has like happened to me that I haven't already shared online. You know, of course, getting held hostage in Japan was scary, but that was a YouTube video that I've already told, and I've told that story 100 times. You know, obviously things that have happened in my life have been dramatic and there's been lots of things come from them, but I've either told them on this bloody podcast or another bloody podcast or another bloody YouTube video or in a TikTok or a reel, or I may have even done a voice note about it on Threads at this point. Like,
so maybe we have shared more than we think after all.
Maybe at the end of the day, our social media is our memoir. Look at that. Because, as I said, even in like Jada's memoir, there's probably things that she couldn't put in or didn't put in or hasn't thought to put in that we still don't know about her. And I guess our social media is the same sort of thing, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's a little memoir. You got to go back and archive though, because some of those memoirs could probably go. Well, this episode wasn't as spooky as I thought it would be given it's Halloween, but anyway.
We got a little bit deep and not so spooky.
Yeah, true. We went as light and fluffy. We were trying to get rid of some demons or whatnot. I'm about to start a bonfire in the Nova offices here, you know, just ward off some spirits, so it's all good. But anyway, we're at the end of another episode. Thank you so much for listening this far. This is episode...
Yeah, we've never actually said thank you.
Yeah, we probably should start doing that.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. We love you, and we are at episode 10, which I feel like this is the end of episode 10. I feel like it's a
milestone.
Milestone,
Yeah.
exactly. That is, you know.
Wait, do we get any sort of prize like from Nova? I just want to ask the Nova team now, if you're listening, when do we get a milestone plaque?
I don't know, but I'm waiting for a pay rise and long service leave, you know, because working with you makes it feel like I've been doing this for years.
Oh,
love.
come
No,
on.
I'm just kidding. But Now that we're like 10 episodes in, like this has been the best decision for us. Well, for me, like I think you'd agree, but it's been the best decision to like start this podcast. Not that I ever had any hesitations anyway. As soon as this came about, I was like, absolutely. Because I was stinging to have a new podcast anyway. So it kind of all just worked out. But we're 10 episodes in now. First of all, the love that we've gotten from our scrollers, the DMs that I get every single week. Literally, the thing is that the episode goes live around like 1 a.m. Australian time or Sydney time where we are. And by the time I wake up,
everyone's already
listened and people have already DM'd me. So it's really nice waking up on a Tuesday morning and having a bunch of DMs. So please, if you loved anything or want to talk more about anything or just want to share a comment, you can absolutely DM us.
We would love to hear the feedback as well. And also, like, I've never really put it to my audience, like, how are you enjoying the podcast? Like, is there more of something that you want to hear about or less? Like, is there something that you don't like? So if you have any feedback for us, we would love to know.
All your followers are like, we don't like Matt. Get rid of him. Get AJ on the pod. We love him. He loves KFC.
We need to get AJ on one time, I swear.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. Would you like guests on the podcast? We don't want guests on the podcast because we're good enough. You know what I mean? Like, so we're fine to just talk. But if you'd like guests on the podcast, we can do it.
Let us know. We can.
I feel like
it.
they need a purpose. Like, why are we having them here? Where do they slot in?
Yeah.
I feel like obviously we're not one of those podcasts where we're going to like interview people and be like, so tell us all about you. We just kind of want someone else here for the banter and join in with us. But
I thought that'd be really fun.
Yeah, we just I think I've been, as I said, I'm always sentimental around October and my birthday month, which is unfortunately over as of today. But anyway, I'll get over it next year. I feel like I'm always a little bit
You're 30 next year. You have a big 30th.
And you know what? I got to start planning that party now because I left my 29th too late and everything was booked out. So if I've learned anything, I've got to get onto it. But we really appreciate you listening, and I'm speaking for both of us, but we're having the time of our lives here, and we're very glad that we decided to start this podcast with Nova. Our team is great. Everyone's great. Our producer Chae is great, and we are just loving this random roller coaster ride that we've gone on.
We're loving it, and we're also killing it, I have to say.
The fact that so many of you are listening every week, the fact we debuted at number 1 in the country, and the fact that, as I said, we've been doing this for 10 years, 10 plus years for you.
10 years we've been doing this podcast.
And like to release a podcast and still get number 1, like I'm proud of myself. And I don't feel like I take enough time to, 1, show my gratitude to our audience, and 2, take time to stop and smell the roses and be like, you know what? Good on us. Like
Go us.
It's fucking sick. So anyway, just wanted to gloat for a second there. But anyway, we'll get on with it. Make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss an episode. But by the looks of it, none of you are missing episodes anyway. All of you are listening every single week. And we love ya. Every Tuesday we upload a new episode here.
Yes, and if you haven't already, please do rate us 5 stars. I feel like everyone already has by this point, but just in case you haven't, just make sure you hit that. And by listening this far into the episodes, you've just signed.
No, actually, you've
signed your life away.
But I was going to say, I know how many listeners we have and how many 5-star reviews we have, and they're lacking. So get on the 5-star reviews.
You heard it here first.
We better promo it at the start of the episode next week or something.
Yeah, let's do
And also,
that.
we're 10 episodes in now, so perfect time for a review. You can now do an honest review because you've had 10 weeks.
Exactly.
You've got 10 episodes. It's all good. You can also tell a friend to join the High Scrollers Club. It's very exclusive, but anyone can join.
And you can follow us everywhere on the internet. For me, just search Brittney Saunders.
And for me, search All Right Hey. Anyway, Jill, I better let you go. I've got a memoir to write.